welcome to another video. You find me in the polytunnel. It's very early, well pretty early on Saturday morning. Just me and the fox were here this morning. Nobody else. It's just gone 7:30. I'm in the polytunnel because the sun shines directly onto the little green shed. So where I normally sit and have a chat with you, I just couldn't quite do it without the glare. Anyway, hope you're all well. And first of all, thank you so much for all the comments regarding the perennial flowers that I've got, clarifying what they are. Great advice, thank you. I've already had a little bit of a tidy up there. It's looking so much better. Also, big thanks for all the really lovely comments regarding my 1 year plot versary, if that's such a thing, my 1 year on the plot, and how I've managed to change it from when I first took it on. Talking of which, I know I've spent quite a bit of money, and I can't fail to see that. There's various structures and things, and you know, quite a few people have said to me, oh, you've spent a fair bit of money. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time this week being very honest with you. How much have I spent? So let's start with the metal raised beds. I've got 8 of them. If I went online today and bought them individually, they're £99 each. I would be spending £800. Believe me, I did not spend £800. I've got a few tips on how you can actually get these beds for just about £50 each. First of all, you need to join one of the online gardening websites. So that could be Dobbies, Van Nguyen, I believe Thompson and Morgan. Join the club. It's £10 per year and you instantly get 10% off. I'm going to be putting this up on the screen so that you can see the maths. And so there you go. That's going to bring it down a little bit. The next thing is you need to buy 2 beds at a time. That way they're £150 for 2 beds. Then when you take that 10% off, you're instantly bringing them then down to £135, which then works out at £67.50 each, which is quite a reduction from that £99. Then you've got to be a little bit patient. Don't order straight away, because once you actually sign up for one of these memberships, you start to get quite a few emails where they're giving you 20% off. Now you wait and you add that to your 10% off. You're then actually going to be getting 2 beds for 108. That's £54 each. Now the other thing is, when you sign up for these clubs, along with your 10% off, you also get £20 in vouchers. But you can't spend £20 all in one go. You can only spend them £5 per order. Now I've chosen not to include that as a sort of deduction on the beds. I've actually done that as a deduction off of the postage, which is, I believe around about £6.99. So you're looking at the beds then are coming out just over £50 each. It's worth me mentioning at this point that I was on the waiting list for this allotment for just over 3 years. The moment I put my name down, I set aside a little bit of money each month. So just £50 a month, which I appreciate we've all got different budgets and things, but I decided to sort of forfeit a takeaway each week and things like that, and popped £50 a month into a separate account. And because I waited just over 3 years, there was actually £2,000 in the account by the time I actually signed my deed to be having this plot. One of the other bigger purchases, if not second to the polytunnel, is the biggest, is the shed. And this is a Mercia shed, a 6x4, and I bought it from a company called Walton's last year, and at the time I paid £349. So I appreciate I should probably add on to this things like the wood preserve, but I'm keeping it just to sort of the structures and the main sort of outgoings. As you're probably aware, certainly here in the UK, the price of wood is just shot up. It's so expensive. So purchasing the scaffolding boards for the wooden beds was again quite a considered purchase, but I managed to do this from B&Q. Again, this involves a little bit of savvy sort of shopping, and that is you sign up for the B&Q club, and with that you straight away get £5 off a £30 spend, and then you start receiving vouchers. As you spend, you start receiving maybe a £3 voucher, a £6 voucher. So I bought the scaffolding boards and various other pieces of wood from B&Q initially, and I've calculated that each of these wooden beds cost me in the region of £30 each. So let's talk about the decking that goes all the way around my plot. Now that I bought in bulk, and at the moment, because I can't actually find the receipt for that, but I can tell you now that a 10 pack of 2.4 metres does cost £65. Now I would have bought, I think, in the region of 3 packs, so at today's prices I would have spent 195, possibly 200 on the decking that I've used to surround my plot. I will mention the things that didn't cost me a penny, and that is this table, which came from a neighbouring house who didn't want it. Inside my shed, this unit here came on free cycle, as did this little table here. My tools, the majority are from home or donated by my parents. My parents also donated this umbrella, the parasol. It was a spare one that they had. So yeah, definitely ask family members or pop onto something like Free Cycle and put a wanted ad out there. You know, it's surprising just how much you can gather together for next to nothing. The 2 water butts were £65 each from B&Q. Previous to these I had various dustbins which have now been repurposed. There's one in the polytunnel, and I've put a couple down here which are collecting water. Those ones there, again, I got, the previous ones were donated, again on Free Cycle. So the 2 compost bins, they come from a company called Primrose, and they cost £70 each, or £69.99, so we're going to round that up, so £70 each, that's 140. And then, oh yes, the runner bean frames, the P frames. Now again, these come from Dobbies, so try and order those at the same time as you're ordering, say, your metal beds or anything else, because then you're going to also get that percentage discount, and it's included in the postage. You just pay that one postage fee. Now let's mention the polytunnel. So the polytunnel replaced a previous flimsy polytunnel. The previous one, with the base and purchasing it, came in at the region, I suppose I spent about £100. So that was £100 lost, because, you know, the wind buckled that. So it led to this rather larger investment of the First Tunnel's polytunnel. So this is the smallest domestic polytunnel that First Tunnels make, so it measures 6 by 8. And by the time I put on the extras I wanted, as in the sliding doors, the crop bar, all the little add-ons, I spent £550. To have them come and fit it is even more than that. So I'm not factoring in the installation of it, because if you're able to do that yourself, then that is a huge saving. I wasn't prepared to try and put this polytunnel together. I wasn't even going to attempt it. I would have sleepless nights in fear that I'd done it wrong, it would blow away. So to me, I decided to make that investment. The other thing is, I haven't really got a growing space at home. I've got a very postage stamp size garden at home, which you may have seen on previous videos. I've got a very small greenhouse that goes against the wall. So having the polytunnel and a place for me to come when it's raining and the weather's colder is just going to be sheer luxury for me. Just occurred to me, something I have forgotten to include is compost. I can't begin to actually calculate how many bags of compost I've bought. Initially, to fill the beds, not all compost. I did try and do some logs and twigs and things at the bottom, but yeah, those metal raised beds take in the region, depending on the size, between 6 to 8 bags of compost. Again though, it's an initial outlay, and I'll be topping those up. I know it goes down quite a bit, but I will be topping those up each season. So it won't be like having to buy half a dozen bags for each bed each year, because that could bankrupt me. I'm gonna tot up the maths, and from that original savings I had, we'll see where we are. I admit I haven't included certain items. I haven't included all the pots that I've bought for growing the potatoes. Yeah, there's all sundries that I would have bought anyway, if that makes sense. I really just wanted to focus on what the setup fees were. When I say fees, what I chose to spend. You don't have to do this. I just knew that for me, this is how I wanted it to be laid out, how I could manage my allotment as well, by having all the different beds, so that I could come down here. Like today, I've only got like another hour before I need to be somewhere else. So I've come down and I've allocated in my mind that I'm doing bed number 3 and bed number 4. Yes, they're mentally numbered as well, but that's how it works for me. You can obviously, and many people have done it and hugely successfully done it, take on an allotment and spend minimal amount of money. You don't need to be spending over £2,000 like I have, but it's down to the individual. And the thing is, there isn't a wrong or a right, it's what works for you. inspired by Veggie Plot. I'll put the link to his channel below. He has set up these sort of IV bags for drip feeding, watering, not feeding, drip watering various plants. So I did purchase a few just to experiment and see. I've only just set the one up into the sweet potato. If you go over to his channel, he has done the calculations for how long they should last, how many days, which I'm so grateful for. But yeah, let's see, because this could be an answer when I'm working and not able to get here. I mean, I can't imagine I'm going to set everything up with them, but just certain things, it could be really useful. So from me and my first little harvest of strawberries, wishing you a great weekend, a brilliant week ahead, and make sure you take care now.